Close your eyes. Imagine a tiny island in the middle of a vast, shimmering lake, surrounded by mist that glows faintly in the early morning light. You can hear the soft lapping of water against wooden boats and the distant calls of birds. This is the place where the Mexica people, later known as the Aztecs, would build one of the greatest cities the Americas had ever seen, Tenochtitlan. In 1325, guided by a vision and a prophecy, a small band of Mexica wandered across the central valley of Mexico. The priests of their tribe had long foretold the sign: an eagle perched upon a cactus, clutching a snake in its beak. When they finally found this omen on a tiny island in Lake Texcoco, they knew they had reached their destined home. At first, the island was barely habitable. Reeds grew thick along the shore, mosquitoes swarmed in the still air, and the lake's waters rose unpredictably with seasonal rains. Yet the Mexica were undeterred. They began to build. Timber and reeds formed the first rudimentary dwellings. Canals were dug to connect small plots of land, and simple wooden bridges allowed movement across water. The Mexica began to transform a swampy island into a living city, a place that would become a marvel of human ingenuity. From these modest beginnings, the Mexica established the foundations of their society. The Calpulli system organized families into communal units, assigning tasks, allocating land, and governing social obligations. Every act, planting maize, carrying water, building homes, was imbued with spiritual significance. The priests oversaw not only the rituals but also the logistics of labor, creating a city where governance, religion, and daily life were inseparable. The construction of Tenochtitlan was a continuous act of devotion. The first temples were humble, but even these were aligned with the movements of the sun and stars. Priests observed the heavens and instructed builders to orient the structures according to celestial patterns. Festivals marked planting and harvest, battles and migrations, serving both as celebration and coordination. In this way, the Aztec city grew not by coercion alone, but through a carefully orchestrated rhythm of faith, labor, and cosmic alignment. As the city expanded, the Mexica devised ingenious solutions to challenges imposed by the lake environment. Floating gardens, or chinampas, turned swampy waters into fertile farmland. Canals allowed canoes to transport crops directly to the central marketplace, ensuring the city was fed and the economy thrived. By integrating agriculture, trade, and infrastructure, the Aztecs created a system that was both highly efficient and deeply intertwined with their worldview. The central island, once small and fragile, became the seat of power. Here rose the Templo Mayor, a twin pyramid dedicated to Huitzilopochtli, god of the sun and war, and Tlaloc, god of rain and fertility. The pyramids were built in successive layers over decades, each layer larger than the last, each stone carefully placed. At key moments, priests performed sacrifices and offerings, embedding celestial alignments and symbolic meaning into the very fabric of the city. The Templo Mayor was more than a religious structure, it was a political instrument. From its top, the priesthood could address thousands of citizens across the plazas. Drums, flutes, and conch shells amplified sound, turning ritual into a performance that unified the community and reinforced the ruler's authority. Every ceremony, every act of devotion, bound citizens to the city, to the gods, and to the empire itself. The sun rises higher, casting golden light across Tenochtitlan. Canals shimmer like ribbons of silver, reflecting the colors of hundreds of boats gliding silently along the water. The city hums with life. Merchants shout their wares in Tlatelolco, the largest marketplace in the city. Textiles dyed in vibrant reds, blues, and yellows flutter in the morning breeze. Cacao beans are measured in bundles, obsidian knives glint in the sun, and jade beads sparkle like fragments of the sky. Walking through the marketplace, you feel the pulse of a civilization that has mastered organization and commerce without paper. Without coins, without modern technology. Every stall is arranged according to type. Foods in one area, tools in another, feathers and ornaments in a third. Buyers and sellers follow unwritten rules, learned from childhood, ensuring that chaos never takes hold. Priests and elders oversee ceremonial openings of the market, blessing the space with incense and ritual songs, reinforcing that commerce is not just economic, it is spiritual. Children weave through the crowds, learning trades and manners, observing offerings to the gods placed at small shrines between stalls. Every transaction carries weight. It is an exchange not only of goods but of social and cosmic significance. Stepping stones across shallow canals guide pedestrians, while canoes transport goods directly to the city's central plazas. It is a city where human movement is choreographed, where traffic and trade follow a rhythm as precise as the heartbeat of a drum. Beyond the markets, the city's engineering marvels come into view. Chinampas stretch across the shallow lake waters like green mosaics, each one meticulously constructed from layers of mud, reeds, and vegetation. Farmers tend maize, beans, squash, and chili peppers, harvesting crops multiple times a year. The canals provide irrigation, fish, and transportation. Ingenious aqueducts bring fresh water from the mainland, while sluices and locks control seasonal flooding. At night, torches illuminate the canals and plazas. You hear the faint splash of water as a canoe glides silently, carrying jars of water or freshly harvested maize. The air is thick with the smell of wet earth and cooking food. The city's canals serve as veins, delivering life and sustaining the population. Walk along the stone-paved causeways and you notice the precision. Stones perfectly leveled, embankments reinforced with timber, bridges spanning channels without blocking the waterway. Every inch is calculated, every construction phase timed according to the sacred calendar. The Templo Mayor, rising above the city, dominates the skyline. Its steep staircases, each stone aligned to the path of the sun during solstices, are more than ceremonial. They are guides for labor and construction. Priests coordinate the hauling of stones and materials from distant quarries, using ritual as a form of project management. Festivals mark the completion of construction phases, ensuring that laborers, craftsmen, and priests all act in synchrony. A block of stone is not merely a building material. It is a prayer, a connection to the cosmos, a component of social order. Acoustic engineering is equally remarkable. Stand at the base of the Templo Mayor and clap your hands once. The sound carries across the plaza, amplified by the carefully aligned stones and terraces. Drums and flutes played from the top of the pyramid create a resonance that seems to envelop the entire city. The Aztecs understood sound as a tool of communication, cohesion, and power. Ceremonies, announcements, and even warnings were transmitted without modern technology, yet reached thousands of people clearly and unmistakably. The city pulses with anticipation. It is the day of Panquetzalisli, the festival of Huitzilopochtli, god of the sun and war. Thousands gather in the central plaza. Women in brightly woven garments carry baskets of maize and flowers. Priests adorn themselves with elaborate feathered headdresses, and drummers begin a deep, resonant rhythm that seems to echo across the lake. Smoke from burning copal incense curls into the sky, carrying prayers and offerings to the gods. The festival is more than a spectacle. It is a mechanism for social order, a calendar, and a teaching moment all at once. Priests consult the Tanalpwali, the sacred 260-day calendar, and the Zayapawali, the solar 365-day year, to determine the most auspicious day for rituals. Every sacrifice, dance, and song is carefully timed to celestial events. The rising of Venus as the morning star, the solstice sunrise, or the phases of the moon. At the Templo Mayor, a ritual begins. A chosen warrior, dressed in jaguar skins adorned with feathers and obsidian, ascends the pyramid steps. Drums and flutes reach a crescendo. The priest lifts a ceremonial obsidian blade, and the crowd watches in solemn awe. Every heartbeat is synchronized with the rhythm of drums and the movement of the sun across the sky. This is not chaos. It is precision engineered through centuries of knowledge. Astronomical observation is woven into the very architecture. The pyramid's orientation allows sunlight to strike sacred glyphs at specific times of the year. During the solstice, rays of light fall upon the statue of Huitzilopochtli, illuminating it as if the god himself had arrived in the plaza. These alignments are not mere decoration. They are instruments for teaching, governance, and timing agricultural and military activities. The priests are both astronomers and civil engineers, blending science, religion, and political power. Beyond the Templo Mayor, the Calpulli neighborhoods celebrate their own smaller festivals. Children perform dances, women offer food and incense, and merchants present their finest goods. Each neighborhood has shrines aligned to local sacred sites, integrating microcosms of the empire into the larger cosmological order. Ritual is everywhere. In daily work, in commerce, and in the movement of water across the canals. Every action reinforces obedience, cohesion, and cosmic understanding. The Aztecs believed that the gods required nourishment in the form of human hearts and blood to sustain the sun, the rain, and the fertility of the land. Sacrifice, horrifying to modern sensibilities, was deeply structured. Priests calculated the number of sacrifices required each year, using observations of Venus and the sun to determine timing. Captives were chosen according to social rules. Warriors taken in battle, criminals, or sometimes voluntary participants who believed in the glory of serving the gods. Even the smallest rituals had architectural and acoustic dimensions. Stand in a sacred courtyard and whisper. A subtle resonance carries the sound to the edges of the plaza. A drum struck at the right moment vibrates through the stone steps, amplifying human voices in a way that feels almost magical. Sound, architecture, ritual, and astronomy form an integrated system that governs human activity and maintains social order. Celebrations like Tlacaxapualisli, the festival of the flayed god Xipe-Totec, blend spectacle with governance. Warriors parade in ceremonial garb, corpses of sacrificed enemies are displayed, and maize and beans are planted in symbolic gestures that connect fertility with war. Every act teaches obedience, reinforces hierarchy, and reminds citizens of the divine order underpinning their society. Water too is sacred. Rainfall is unpredictable, and Lake Texcoco can flood or recede. Aztec engineers use aqueducts, reservoirs, and canals to manage water, but these are also ritual spaces. Priests perform ceremonies at sluices, blessing the flow of water, ensuring that humans and gods are in harmony. A reservoir is not just a storage space. It is a stage for cosmic performance, a place where devotion and engineering intersect. Even war is ritualized. Before campaigns, the flow of Venus, the lunar cycles, and the sun's position dictate strategy. Warriors are trained in schools called telpakali, learning martial skills alongside sacred chants. Campaigns themselves are theater. Formations, banners, and drums communicate orders while inspiring fear and reverence. Victories are celebrated with grand feasts, dances, and sacrifices, reinforcing the cosmic significance of conquest. By integrating astronomy, architecture, ritual, and governance, the Aztecs created a society that functioned like a living machine. Each temple, plaza, and canal was part of a coordinated system where human activity followed divine rhythms. Work, leisure, and war were not separate. They were interconnected threads of cosmic order, each reinforcing the other. Tenochtitlan's heart beats not only with drums of ceremony but also with the march of warriors. From the moment a boy reaches adolescence, he enters the Telpakali, the house of youth, where he is trained to serve the empire. Here, he learns the art of war, how to wield the macuahuitl, the obsidian-edged sword, how to handle the atlotl, and how to move silently through marshes and forests. But combat training is inseparable from ritual. Each lesson begins with prayers to Huitzilopochtli, god of war, and Tlaloc, god of rain. A warrior does not fight for glory alone. He fights as part of a cosmic balance. The Aztec army is a marvel of organization. Unlike many contemporary civilizations, it is structured hierarchically, yet every level is infused with ritual significance. Elite units, the eagle and jaguar warriors, wear feathers and jaguar skins, signaling both prowess and divine favor. They lead the troops into battle, chanting sacred songs, their steps echoing across causeways and fields. Foot soldiers, armed with shields and clubs, follow with discipline learned from childhood. Every movement, every formation is preordained, and every victory is an offering to the gods. When the call to arms comes, it is announced not merely by messengers but by the city itself. Drums, conch shells, and signal fires across Lake Texcoco transmit orders with precision. Canoes carry troops to distant shores, guided by priests who read the stars and rivers, ensuring that timing aligns with sacred cycles. Logistics are astonishing. Food, water, and weapons are delivered to armies scattered across hundreds of kilometers, all coordinated through rituals, festivals, and astronomical observations. The expansion of the empire is methodical. Neighboring city-states are first approached through diplomacy, tribute demands, and sacred omens. If defiance arises, war is sanctioned, and campaigns unfold with almost theatrical precision. Ambassadors and spies gather intelligence, while priests interpret celestial signs to determine auspicious days for battles. It is not chaos. It is a fusion of faith, strategy, and political calculus. Sieges are conducted with care and ritual. Warriors march under banners depicting the sun and jaguar, the air thick with incense and the rhythmic pounding of drums. Conquered cities witness displays of power, parades of captives, sacrifices to assert divine authority, and the immediate integration of tribute systems. Every act reinforces the perception that the Aztec Empire is sanctioned by the cosmos itself, making rebellion both futile and sacrilegious. Yet war is not only bloodshed. Conquered peoples are integrated into the tributary network, contributing maize, cacao, cotton, gold, and labor. They are required to participate in ceremonies, and their priests learn the ways of the Mexica calendar. In this way, the empire grows not merely in territory but in the coordination of human activity, religion, and infrastructure. The Aztecs are master organizers, turning conquest into both political dominance and cosmic harmony. Engineering supports the military as well. Causeways connecting Tenochtitlan to the mainland can be flooded or raised, controlling access and defending the city. Watchtowers and fortifications are carefully constructed, incorporating observation points aligned with the sun to detect movement across the lake. Every bridge, canal, and temple serves multiple purposes: spiritual, civic, and military. At the height of expansion, the Aztec Empire stretches across the Valley of Mexico and beyond. Cities pay tribute, armies move with efficiency, and priests maintain calendars, festivals, and rituals to sustain divine favor. Each victory, each city, each temple adds a layer of cosmic order, reinforcing the belief that the empire is not merely political, but the embodiment of universal balance. Yet even this formidable system is delicate. Overextension, dependence on tribute, and the unpredictability of nature, floods, droughts, and disease, introduce vulnerabilities. The system requires constant attention, priests monitoring celestial movements, rulers ensuring tribute compliance, warriors maintaining discipline. In a society where faith and governance are entwined, a lapse in ritual can be as devastating as a military defeat. It is the year 1519. A strange fleet of ships appears on the horizon, their sails glinting in the sunlight. The Mexica have never seen anything like it. Cortés and his men arrive from across the sea, bringing steel, horses, and diseases unknown to the New World. Their appearance is both terrifying and fascinating. Rumors spread that they might be gods or monsters sent from the heavens. Emperor Moctezuma II faces a dilemma. Should he welcome these strangers with ceremony, as the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl suggests, or treat them as invaders? Diplomacy is attempted, gifts are exchanged, and priests interpret omens, reading signs in the stars and the flight of birds. Every moment is fraught with uncertainty. The Aztec system, meticulously balanced for centuries, encounters a force it cannot fully understand. The Spaniards are unlike any previous enemies. Their steel swords and armor cut through obsidian and cotton. Horses trample the battlefield in a manner the Mexica have never seen. Yet it is disease, smallpox, measles, and influenza that begins the silent conquest. Populations collapse, families are decimated, and the carefully orchestrated social and tribute systems falter. The siege of Tenochtitlan in 1521 is catastrophic. The city, once a marvel of canals, causeways, and floating gardens, is transformed into a battlefield. Canals become moats filled with debris, temples are set ablaze, and aqueducts are destroyed, cutting off water supplies. Citizens suffer famine and thirst. Priests and warriors continue rituals, attempting to appease the gods, but the cosmic machinery of the empire, once flawless, fails to protect them. Yet even in destruction, the ingenuity of the Aztecs shines. Makeshift defenses, floating barricades, and strategic flooding of canals slow the invaders. Messages are sent across water and causeways using drums and runners. Every act of resistance is deeply ritualized. Warriors pray before battle, sacrifices are offered to Huitzilopochtli to ensure victory, and chants echo across the lake. The city fights with both martial and spiritual force. But the sheer combination of foreign weaponry, disease, and internal disruption overwhelms the empire. On August 13, 1521, Tenochtitlan falls. The once vibrant city is reduced to rubble. Temples are looted, treasures are melted or shipped abroad, and the surviving population is subjugated. The great ceremonial and astronomical systems, which had guided society for centuries, are broken. The temples and plazas, cosmic engines that synchronize human life with the stars, stand silent beneath the sun. Despite this collapse, Aztec culture does not vanish. Survivors preserve language, traditions, and knowledge. Hidden manuscripts and oral histories endure, passing down stories of Templo Mayor, the Chinampas, and the warriors' bravery. The echo of drums, the alignment of temples, and the rhythm of the festivals persist in the memories of the people. Centuries have passed, and the waters of Lake Texcoco have receded. The bustling Tenochtitlan lies beneath modern Mexico City, buried under layers of earth, stone, and urban sprawl. Yet the secrets of the Aztec Empire are not lost. Archaeologists, historians, and engineers are now uncovering the genius of a civilization that once orchestrated life with cosmic precision. Modern tools unimaginable to the Mexica reveal astonishing truths. Ground-penetrating radar, laser scanning, and LiDAR light detection and ranging peel back centuries of sediment, uncovering canals, palaces, marketplaces, and pyramids. Entire districts of the ancient city, hidden for hundreds of years, emerge as if the earth itself has been lifted. Roads, bridges, aqueducts, and chinampas, the floating gardens, reveal a city whose infrastructure rivals modern engineering. Every discovery underscores what scholars have long suspected. The Aztecs were not primitive, nor were their achievements accidental. Temples aligned with celestial bodies, canals designed for efficient transport, reservoirs and aqueducts integrated into ritual and daily life, all speak to a civilization that merged engineering, religion, and governance into a single coherent system. Take the Templo Mayor, for example. Excavations reveal layers upon layers of construction, each phase precisely calculated according to solar cycles and Venus movements. Offerings of jade, gold, feathers, and human remains were not random acts. They were integral to the management of labor, marking milestones in construction and maintaining societal cohesion. The pyramid itself functioned as a project management tool, a cosmic calendar, and an instrument of political authority. The Chinampas, meanwhile, demonstrate an unmatched understanding of sustainable agriculture. These floating gardens, engineered for fertility and stability, produced multiple harvests per year and fed tens of thousands of citizens. Water channels served simultaneously as irrigation, transport routes, and sacred spaces for ritual, blending utility and meaning seamlessly. Modern scientists studying urban sustainability now marvel at this integration, noting that Aztec principles anticipate contemporary ideas about ecological planning and resource management. Even sound was carefully considered. Archaeologists recreating ceremonies note how plazas, causeways, and temple stairways amplify voices and instruments, ensuring that thousands of people could hear announcements or prayers without modern amplification. The Aztecs designed public spaces as living theaters and acoustic instruments, allowing ritual to unify citizens both spiritually and socially. The story of Tenochtitlan and the Aztec Empire also offers stark warnings. The city fell not because of internal chaos alone, but because of overextension, environmental fragility, and the sudden introduction of foreign forces and diseases. The balance between resource management, ritual, and governance, so carefully maintained for centuries, proved delicate. Modern civilization, facing climate change, pandemics, and resource scarcity, can learn from this. Even the most sophisticated systems can collapse if harmony with nature and society is disrupted. Yet beyond lessons of caution, the Aztecs teach us about human ingenuity, organization, and creativity. They remind us that technology is not only machines, circuits, and software. It can be ritual, calendar, or architecture. A system of meaning that mobilizes people, synchronizes labor, and binds society together. Stand today on the remnants of Templo Mayor. Imagine the drums, the incense, the chants. Picture the chinampas stretching across Lake Texcoco, the markets alive with vibrant goods, the warriors trained in sacred rhythm and strategy. Through archaeology, laser scans, and reconstruction, the past whispers to us. It tells of a civilization that transformed stone, water, sound, and sky into instruments of power, knowledge, and survival. The Mexica did not vanish. Their descendants still speak Nahuatl, celebrate festivals with echoes of ancient rituals, and remember the gods and the stars that guided their ancestors. And their genius, architectural, mathematical, social, and spiritual, continues to inspire those who listen closely. The question, then, is not whether the Aztecs are gone. The question is, will we learn from them before our own cities falter under the weight of imbalance? Before our calendars, rituals, and technologies fail to sustain the world we inhabit?